And we have a news update for you tonight. Anyone at Mattoon High School on September 20th, 2017 won't soon forget that day.
That's right. Josiah Lyons, a fellow student, fired a gun in the cafeteria, hurting one student before he was stopped by a teacher. This week, 4.5 years later, survivors are saying justice has finally been served. Lyons was sentenced to 25 years for violating an agreement he made with the courts. WCIA3's investigative reporter Renee Cooper joins us now. So Renee, you talked to a survivor today. What is she saying?
Well, Madeline Horth reached out to us. She was a senior at the time. She still lives in town and passes by her old school regularly, but she doesn't think she'll ever walk inside again. She told me a story today about, to this day, she says when she goes out to dinner with her family, she's constantly checking for the exit signs.
I can't lie, even passing by here sometimes is nerve-wracking, and I feel myself get tense.
On that fall day in September 2017, right around lunchtime, Madeline Horth heard the shots from a nearby classroom.
You know how when you're sleeping at night and you hear something in the distance and it's very vague? It was kind of like that.
Mattoon units, information, I have a 911 call, shots fired at the high school.
Then, almost immediately, reality began to unfold quickly.
Our secretary, Mrs. Munyon, she came over the intercom and she said that we were in lockdown and that this was not a drill, and I could hear her like stumbling to put the phone back on the receiver.
They first crammed into a supply closet in the science room. Horth tried to reach her dad.
I remember I was trying to call him and he wasn't picking up, and I was thinking like, oh, you know, what if I don't get to graduate? What if I don't get to see my grandma again? Like, all these things that went through my head.
And then hundreds of students together ran out of the school and down the sidewalk. Horth vividly remembers the heat and the blisters on her feet.
Everybody ran. That is the one thing that I think will stay with me forever. We ran out into that hallway, and at first it was quiet, and then all of a sudden I heard like hundreds of other feet behind me, and that was the eeriest thing I think I've ever heard in my life. Nobody was saying anything. It was just footsteps and then panting and crying and breathing.
Now 19-year-old Josiah Lyons is set to spend the next 25 years behind bars for the shooting. The Class 3 felony would normally come with a sentence of 2 to 5 years.
As a prosecutor, where did this sentence come from?
It was by agreement. It predates me.
It's the harsher of two sentencing options set forth back in 2018. The judge told 15-year-old Lyons if he gets into trouble, he will serve 25 years as an adult.
This was an agreement for what we call extended juvenile jurisdiction.
Then, Lyons was arrested in December. The charge alleges he did not update his address with authorities when he moved back to Mattoon.
He was sentenced originally, and part of that plea was in reserve, for lack of a better term, 25-year DOC sentence if he violated, and he violated.
Horth tells me that updated sentence has brought with it some animosity. She feels some people have been dismissive of the trauma that still lingers around that school, something that's still very real for those survivors. Now, back in 2018, the victim's father took the stand in court, and he said he had no ill will towards Lyons or his family. Reporting live in the newsroom, Renee Cooper, WCIA3, your local news leader.
All right, Renee, thank you so much. Decatur police are investigating